Now, if you're a smartphone filmmaker or content creator, how can you give your videos a certain style, mood, or feel? Well, today I'm in Rome where I'm going to show you exactly how. I'm going to share some filmmaking tips and techniques that will completely transform how you shoot and edit your videos. We're going to explore 3 different locations across the city where I'll be demonstrating 3 distinct styles of shooting and editing. A big thanks to Epidemic Sound for sponsoring this video. This is where I'll be going to get all of my music and sound effects for today's edits. Okay, let's jump straight into this one and head to our first location, Vatican City. And the filmmaking style for this location is cinematic. So how can we make our smartphone footage look like something out of a Hollywood movie? Well, one of the first things that we can do is to put our smartphone on a gimbal. This is really going to help capture nice smooth shots that are often associated with big Hollywood feature films. Shots starting low and rising up, reveal shots smoothly pushing forward. These shots are all possible to shoot handheld, but definitely harder and won't look as professional. A gimbal makes these shots easy. Now, if you're someone looking specifically to capture cinematic looking shots, then make sure you get a gimbal with a good tilt axis, because this is what's going to replicate those unique camera angles and smooth movements. I'm shooting everything today on the iPhone 15 Pro Max and the HOEM M6, as well as using this variable ND filter for a more cinematic look. As always, I will link all gear used in this video in the description below. Now, a quick tip here for making shots look more dramatic is to use a wide angle lens and tilt the camera up. You'll see this technique being used in a lot of feature films. Wide angle lenses capture a broader field of view, and tilting upwards exaggerates perspectives and vertical lines, making structures appear taller and more imposing. You could go really extreme and point your camera directly up. I like to push forward with these shots, keep your movements smooth and consistent. You could get a bit more creative, start with a slight tilt up and then tilt down to reveal your location. All of these adjustments in how you shoot will contribute to the final look and feel of your edit. Now, as well as capturing nice wide shots of all this incredible architecture, it's also really important to capture close-up detailed shots. Like these statues, I'm going to start close up and gradually pull back. Or the inscriptions carved into this red granite. All of these shots are going to help tell a better story. Now, music is going to be so important with this edit. For example, let's take a look at this footage with some happy, quirky music. Yeah, it doesn't seem quite right, does it? But now let's try and find something a little bit more cinematic, maybe something orchestral. And as you can see, by simply changing the music, we completely transform the look, feel, and mood of this footage. Okay, so what else can we do to this footage to help stylize it some more? Well, we could add a color grade. Color grading this footage will help give it a much more unique look, instantly separating it from all the other smartphone videos. I'm going to use my orange and teal LUT from my smartphone LUT Pack Volume 2 for this, because this preset is specifically designed for smartphone videos. And using this intensity slider, I can adjust the strength of this color grade to my taste. I find less is more when it comes to color grading, so let's go about here. Adding black bars will also enhance the cinematic look of this footage, helping replicate aspect ratios used in many Hollywood films. I will leave a free download to some black bars below. Now, another way you can get a more cinematic look is to shoot in slow motion. I'm shooting most shots today at 4K 60 frames per second so that I can slow my footage down by 50% in the edit if needed. I'm also going to capture some shots at 120 frames per second for super slow motion. You'll lose a bit of image quality doing this, so just weigh up if you feel it's worth it for the shot. Some shots just look better in slow motion, like this seagull flying past the pillars or the water falling from this fountain. Now, I really want to give this footage a blockbuster Hollywood feel. Ideally, I'd send a drone up in the sky and get some aerial shots, but drones are strictly prohibited here at the Vatican. But I do have an alternative. Yes, you've guessed it, a 3-meter long extension pole. It makes a regular appearance on this channel because it allows you to get your camera to an elevated position without having to worry about drone laws. Yes, you're not going to get as high as a drone, but it'll definitely help make your footage stand out and add a lot more production value, which is exactly what we need for the cinematic look. This setup also doubles as a crane or jib. We can now start with our camera low to the ground and lift up, replicating crane movements, and we've now taken what would be be your everyday normal smartphone footage and turned it into something that looks much more professional. So we've shot using a gimbal, we've used a wide-angle lens to add more drama to these shots, we've added cinematic music, we've faked drone shots, crane shots, shot in slow motion, added black bars and color graded. So let's see what doing all of this has done to the look, feel and mood of this footage. Okay, so that was edit number 1. Let's move on to the next location for edit 2. And for this, we're heading to the beautiful back streets of Trastevere, where the filmmaking theme for this location is handheld and raw. Now, I want this edit to feel completely different from the first. No gimbal this time. I'm not looking for smooth camera movements. In fact, I'm deliberately looking for shaky shots, a more handheld, raw feel. I'm even going to go as far as to jump into my camera settings and turn off enhanced stabilization, because this will help give me a more authentic run and gun feel. Now, there is plenty to shoot here in these back streets. This has to be one of the most picturesque locations I've ever been to. We've got vintage cars parked on cobblestone streets, colorful buildings, a really unique blend of historic charm mixed with vibrant graffiti and artwork. And I want to include all of this in the final edit. So like at the last location, I still want to capture a good mix of shots, only here I want to make it more about the people. At the Vatican, it was more about the architecture, whereas here, I want to focus more on the food, the people. There's a very lively atmosphere here today, so let's emphasize this by getting the camera low to the ground and capturing all of the movement. No fancy camera work with these shots. I'm mostly standing still and just adding a bit of camera movement or shake. The sun shining through these vines, a waitress serving food, a shot tilting down to this bar. All simple handheld shots with a slight bit of camera movement. Now, one of the best ways to make this sequence feel very different to the first is with music. Now, instinctively, I look at this footage of the beautiful Italian back streets and I think to myself, well, let's put some traditional Italian music with it, but I think it's too predictable. I think this would be playing it safe. I actually really like Italian music, but I'm looking for a track that contrasts the visuals, something unexpected. So what would be the opposite to some traditional Italian music? Well, we could go for some hip hop. So as you can see, the music really does make a difference to this footage. And another thing I'd really like to try here is adding some overlays, maybe some lens flares or film burns, something to transition between one clip and another. Also, sound design is a really important part of the edit. Let me just quickly show you just what difference adding sound design can make to your videos. Let's take this pigeon shot, for example. This is the original clip with the original sound. Yeah, not great. So now let's add the sound effect of some wings flapping and a soft layer of music. So much better, so much more professional, and that's the difference that simply adding music and sound effects can make to your videos. Music is what's going to set the tone to your edit, so it's really important that you get it right. Music will literally make or break your edit, so having something that sounds professional, something that's not going to get you a copyright strike when you upload it, and something that will keep your audience engaged is an incredibly important part of the editing process. So if you're looking to give your videos a certain style, mood or feel, then I can highly recommend checking out Epidemic Sound. All of the music that you've heard in this video has come from Epidemic Sound. They have a huge archive of everything from rock, hip hop, cinematic music. You can search by genre, mood or theme, and this makes finding what you're looking for easy. Also, what's great about Epidemic Sound is that they have a huge sound effects library, and this can really help bring your edits to life. So whether you're looking for a whoosh sound effect to take you from one shot to another, or a dog barking for your next video project, Epidemic Sound has got you covered. And with a subscription, you can download as much as you like. And the best part is they offer a free 7-day trial to anyone that uses the link in my description. So be sure to check it out. Okay, let's take a look and see what all of this footage looks like edited into a short sequence. Okay, so that was edit number 2. Let's move on to the next location for edit number 3. And for this, we're heading to the Victor Emmanuel Monument, where the filmmaking style is static and classical, so no camera movement with any of these shots, edited to classical music. Now it's getting late and we're losing light fast, so let's set a 10-minute time limit for this location. I don't have a tripod with me today, so I'm going to re-enable my phone's image stabilization, which will help me get a much smoother, more stable looking handheld shot. Now, when shooting static shots or sequences with no camera movement, nailing your framing is crucial. Think of it like photography. Your framing and composition are everything because the camera isn't moving. We need these shots to look appealing, interesting, and engaging. So let's turn on the grid lines on our camera to help us use framing and composition techniques that will help guide our viewer's eye, like the rule of thirds. For this, place your subject or focal point on one of these intersecting lines. I'm going to place mine on the top left like this. Or try using symmetry. This location is perfect for it, so I'm going to take advantage of it. All of these framing techniques will significantly enhance the visual appeal of our shots. Also, just because we're not moving our camera, it doesn't mean that we can't add movement to our shots. Take this wide establishing shot, for example. We framed it so that it's nice and symmetrical, but the flags flapping in the wind have added more movement and interest to this shot. And if we wait just a few seconds longer, we now get this bird flying through the frame. So remember, static doesn't mean boring. Get creative with these shots. Be sure to experiment with music and sound effects to really help bring them to life. Now, how we edit these shots will ultimately determine the final look and feel. Take this shot pointing up, for example. We could keep it static with some classical music, or throw in a thunderstorm with some sound effects for a much more dramatic look. But let's just keep things simple. Now, I'm going to capture a few more shots at this incredible location, and as my 10 minutes is almost up, and with the light fading fast, I'm going to call it a day and see what all of this footage looks like, shot with no camera movement, edited to classical music. So which of those 3 sequences was your favorite? I'd love to know. Do let me know in the comments section below. And if you'd like to learn more about filmmaking and video production, be sure to check out these 2 videos here. But that's it from me. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.